My wife just arrived from a trip to Germany, Neumünster, some horse event of any kind. She got me this perfume or aftershave. I'm not sure how to interpret that. Perhaps I'm not as good smelling as I think. The passion for driving doesn't have to stop when the Monday arrives. We all know the greatness of the 911 as a sports car. And many of us has also experienced the practicality that the 911 represents as a daily driver. There are few other sports cars that you could use on a daily basis and performing all the activities that most Porsche owner represent. In fact, I think it's quite hard to find a competitor with such a driving performance and practicality. If you scan the market, I believe that you have to scan it extremely careful to find any, if none, that could compare with the 911.
Wearing light shoes, walking down the shore, diving head first down to the ocean floor. Your dark brown eyes reflect fireflies, living bright nights, getting me high on life.
Daily drive your 911. I mean, taking each second of driving pleasure in consideration, and you don't want to miss out any of them, are, from my perspective, quite attractive.
This is a perfect night to catch a cold, turn the full length of the North Shore, stay up for the sunrise, make a wish. There is no way we'll be forgetting this.
And in Sweden at least, the first generation 997 has quite a good price tag. I even stretch myself saying that the first generation is affordable. And if you are into the market to buy a 911 for daily use, the 997 first generation perhaps is a choice for you.
It's a night to stay up late. Things we have to do can't wait. We've got catching up to do. There's a glow about you.
For the very first time, Porsche engineering started with the convertible instead of the coupe when the 997 was engineered. And the design was something that started actually quite early. And I believe that they were not 100% satisfied with the 996, even though I think especially the GT3 is one of the most beautiful 911s. Do I? I'm not sure, by the way, which is the most beautiful 911 when you have these beautiful lines that are represented each decade. This model is, according to me anyway, quite sensitive when it comes to wheel selection. The Carrera S wheels with hundreds of design lines distracted the beautiful 911 lines. The Carrera Classic sports wheel that this car has is actually the opposite, lifting up the 911 design that I love so much. Also with this model, the PUS was introduced, and I believe that's an option that you should look for, making it comfortable when you daily drive and sporty when it's time for more active driving. And I believe as a, let's say, daily driver, there are some things that are spectacular in the 911. It is the seating position. I have always referred it as a driver's man, driver's woman position, and that's correct. but you are always able to adjust your seating position according to the comfort that suits you. Not only is it easy to find a good seating position, but it's also sustainable for you, whatever odd-shaped body me and you have. But what do I mean when I say that the first generation is a much more affordable car, for example, compared with the second generation? Well, in Sweden, between these two cars, there are about a Volkswagen Golf in between prices, from 25 to 35,000 euros. And the reason for that is actually the engines. The engines are totally different between the first and the second generation. And from the 996, early Boxster and Cayman, we can read a lot about the IMS ball bearings that causes issues with the engine. But is there a solution, and what is the problem?
I don't want nobody stabbing me with love. Don't wanna waste no time getting my feelings hurt. I believe in those things we don't know much of. There's just so much to see that ain't about love. I'm ready to face my fears, I'm ready to taste the weird. I just wanna walk the hills above. My ordinary life, I could let it burn.
I'm standing beside an engine block M97 from the first generation 997, 3.8 liter. In front of the engine block you will find the IMS shaft. And I believe that this is what we talk about on the internet forum, the ball bearing in the front of the IMS shaft. So what does the IMS shaft do? Well, first of all, it's mounted in the center in the engine block, and it drives the camshafts on each side of the engine. And the problem that we talk about is that the ball bearings in the front of the IMS axle does not get significant lubrications. And I believe that European Parts Solutions has an intelligent solution for this. I'm not saying it's bulletproof, but I think it is in the right direction. So what is it? It is an Allen drive with a governed oil passage that you mount in the back of the IMS shaft. And before you do that, you punch a hole to make sure that the channel in the Allen drive could transport the oil through the oil pressure that you have from the oil pump through the IMS shaft, giving the ball bearings in the front of the IMS axle lubrication. What I like also with this solution is that you don't have to remove the engine to mount it. No, you simply remove the rear fender of your car, dismount the exhaust system, and then you get access to the oil pump. Remove the oil pump and you will get access to the back of the IMS shaft. Then you will get access to punch a hole to make sure the oil could pass through the IMS shaft. Then you just mount back the items and you're good to go. And the thing is, this small piece cost $99.
'Cause I just wanna go to the deep end. I just wanna go to the deepest end.
Is this the solution? I'm not sure, but I would definitely install it if I was an owner of the first generation 997.
I never got to let loose, hanging out with you.
I love the 3.6 liter engines when I drive it. I mean, if this was my daily driver, I would absolutely be satisfied with the torque that I have in the lower range. And also, if you look at the high revs when you give the throttle with the Sport Chrono. I believe it is a perfect combination. Yeah, definitely. I will have the power, and it has a lot of thrust, and I think it's okay for the more active driving. And I think it is a perfect combination because the 3.6 liter engine actually has a better cooling in the 6-cylinder compared to the 3.8 liter Carrera S, giving it a much longer life cycle. And apparently, if I'm correct informed, there have been more issues with the 6-cylinder in the 3.8 liter engine.
I can't forget what you've done. The way you act won't take me back. Just go, go, go.
You know, having the 911 as a daily driver is all about including all the family. And bringing the dogs within your sports car is actually something that many people does. And I think that's great. And on my right side, I have the first generation, and on my left side you will find the facelifted version. And Porsche's always made, according to me at least, better design the second attempt. But I think this is the attempt that actually differs from all the other models. And it's the front where they kind of frames in this part of the design much differently. And I think the scope and the flow that they create in the first generation are more attractive. With the Sport Chrono package in the 997, you don't get automatic rev matching. That was introduced in the 991. So for that reason, you have to do the heel and toe yourself. But that is fun, I'm telling you. Having the sun in my face, heel toeing, selecting my B-roads. We're talking good stuff here, ladies and gentlemen. Driving your 911 as a daily driver is a pure pleasure. It doesn't matter if it starts to rain. It is always up for the challenge. Of course, the four-wheel drive car that I have on my very left side is obviously better when the winter arrives. But don't hesitate to drive the rear-wheel drive cars in the winter either. 911s are built for be a daily driver, a sports car, and giving you as a driver's man, driver's woman, a true pleasure behind the steering wheel. Is the IMS solution that I presented good enough for you? Then I would definitely go with the Mark 1. And if you're still worried, well, then pay the extra golf between the cars and have a more relaxed ride.